You guys will be talking about Lentoria and Lentor Mansion, as you can see in the title, obviously. Then, before we move ahead, Lentor Mansions will be the interesting one in the mix. According to the recent, the GFA thing and also the aircon latch, all these kind of things. So all the URA harmonization kind of thing change from Lentor Mansion onwards. Lentor Mansion was the first one to kena the new policies lah. Before that, Lentor Modern, Lentor Hills, Hillock Green, Lentoria. Then after that, cross this red line, it will be Lentor Mansions. And how does it affect the PSF and everything else? We'll have a look later. But this is pretty much the list that you more or less can see, especially for the Lentor side. So let's move on. Some very quick information about Lentoria, then we'll go through a little bit more on the Lentor Mansions. Yeah, now we are juggling two projects at the same time because they are about to be launched at the same time. So might as well we do a comparison at this point. Then for those of you who are really considering, then you make an informed decision whether you want to go ahead or basically there's quite a lot of risk. As you can see from the past 3 videos of my other, or rather more than that, because there were some that I did like a post-launch review. But then again, if you want to enter this area, enter with your own enter at your own discretion, because it's going to be quite a lot of risk, especially if you're trying to rent it out or sell it out next time upon the TOP. If your agent unfortunately is telling you, TOP, you're going to be selling at a high PSF. Come on, if you have high supply, you should be very aware of what's happening in this current market right now. Nationwide market, I would say, according to quite some of the new condos that has recently been TOP. Selling it is not easy, especially renting is not easy. If you look at how the rental has really dropped over the past few months, especially for those that just TOP, I wouldn't say it's totally crashing. It has been way overinflated for quite a while now. Now it's kind of like moderating, but will it crash? I really don't think so. I still feel that it may have some way to go a little bit lower, but I don't think it's just gonna crash. That's the difference. Lentoria, 99 years. There are only 200 plus units. Land size is about this, but main things you want to take a look at is the number of units and also the unit types. Over here, I think the TOP date kind of 223. This is not a very big project. It's all under the Guaco umbrella. That's why it's not really not that much of a difference really. This is the concept. This reminds me of the big one and then the small one in front. I wanted to share the last time I used to play MapleStory. For those of you who know my era, we used to play MapleStory. This is like the time, what do you call it? I never really played to that level, but I've seen that monster. There's this maybe like a Chronos or whatever. Then the big one, the small one. So that's for the game nerds. That's for the fellow game nerds or ex-fellow game nerds. But this kind of reminds me of that. I don't know why they design it like this. The land is not very big in the first place, so not much creative ideas to bounce around. But why this is still a question mark. Okay, but then again, I'm not an architect. I wish I'm an architect and I understand. I never really understand all these kind of standard you care. You probably go to the show floor, you've seen a lot of this crap by now already. Site plan. All these, like what I say, you already know by now. This is the full 50-meter lap pool, so not too shabby. Lentoria, this is the what I think they're trying to show is that within a 1 km radius. This is pretty much those good school seekers are looking around for this region. Area again. Then this is the slightly more interesting one. Lentor Modern. Hillock Green is just opposite, followed by the Lentor Hills, which has really been sold quite a lot already. This is a smaller piece of land, and then this one is the one that's going to be upcoming preview in 3 days time. Then this one is going to be launched soon already. Why are they launching so close together is a question mark. I really don't think why, being the the ultimate parent company, why would they want to clash so close together? Well, if you guys have any ideas, then please put in the comments, and then it's good food for thought. I don't really agree with the idea, but we'll see. Maybe we can get some good response from you guys. These other you don't really need to go through that much in detail lah. But Lentor Mansion this is the more interesting plot in my point of view. We have quite a big land size, almost twice, or rather more than twice the land size of Lentoria. There are 500 plus units, basically twice the amount of units compared to Lentoria. A little bit later when it comes to TOP expected. Of course, if they build faster, then it'll be good. But there is no one bedroom for Lentor Mansions. Maybe because of the new PSF kind of thing, due to the GFA. If they put one bedder, it's going to be sky high, crazy kind of PSF. And probably that's why they are only starting with 2 bedroom, because they don't want to be scaring you, because they are starting to get price. Later we have a look, is a little bit rather scary already, given this point in the market itself for OCR. Starting from, we're talking about guide price. This is the site plan. It looks, in my opinion, this looks nicer than Lentoria, but some people maybe they just want they just want to go for the next newest launch, which kind of like, I don't know. I don't really understand these people. But there will be these kind of people. Oh, this is the latest launch. There's a lot of hype. And I see Singaporeans having hype. We see people go to the show fair. That's why I must go. People queued. That means it's something that I should not miss out. This kind of mentality, I don't think it's something that we really want to adopt. I think it's a pretty dangerous kind of mentality, by the way. Lentoria, not many one bedders, only 23 of them, which consists of about 8.6% of the total number of units. There is no 5 bedrooms compared to Lentor Mansion. Maximum is only 4 bedrooms. These are the sizes. Later we will take a look at the this one. Oh, they didn't put here. I think probably another one. I'll show it to you over here. The sizes are small. It reminds me a little bit of like an Infinity, but Infinity I think could be those that are 700 plus, Garden Residence, all these that are 700 plus. They are probably smaller even because of the aircon latch. This one they are not really selling the aircon latch. In case you are wondering what we are talking about, you can go and consider looking at my the URA harmonization video to really understand what exactly is going on with that thing. But Lentor Mansion is starting from this price for the respective unit types. But this is Lentoria. So quantum wise, it looks like how come Lentor Mansion it seems to be cheaper. This one 3 bedrooms starting from 1.8 plus, this one starting from 1.7 plus. So is this really a better option in that sense? Maybe they are trying to clear, maybe they are trying to put together so that more people are going for this one. This possible strategy, you never know, because they are trying to clear stocks. Lentoria is still subject to the old ruling, which they can still in a way sell you the EC ledge, and probably that's why the PSF is a lot lower. But this one PSF, it looks like they purposely omitted the PSF. But if you do go and do a calculations, it is not as attractive as you think it is, because this is from the newspaper, from the Business Times. 2 bedrooms at this PSF, 3 bedrooms. 4 bedroom and 5 bedrooms are starting from this kind of PSF. I know they cannot sell you AC lah, but even then, it's quite a chunk because AC usually I don't think they hit 10% of that, or of the usually they don't hit 10% of the unit size. But if you compare the PSF compared to the respective 2 bedders starting from, this is almost 11% increment in terms of PSF. Of course, ACLS is not the only change lah. There are other changes like a measure to the thickness of the wall, that kind of thing from the middle, blah blah blah. All these things. Please go and revisit the other video. But this is quite a chunk, about 10% to 11% kind of difference PSF, which can be quite scary because you're talking about 200 plus PSF. then that is where the difference lies before you are taking the yield quantum. But will you be able to accept the PSF difference? The PSF is going to be higher naturally for Lentor Mansions, despite the land being bought cheaper, because of that's why when land is being bought cheaper, it may or may not be necessarily selling at a lower PSF. They're bought cheaper because developers are trying to be a little bit more conservative given the new policies, and that's why they trade. Let's tell you what, guys, let's just be a little bit more conservative so that we don't screw up, because you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. They cannot afford to screw up. If you're talking about missing just a few $100s, I don't think they give it crap. But you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. They cannot really anyhow beat. As long as the bids are more or less within each other, they get the land. They want to sell it more expensive is their problem, because they probably, if they know that you like the product you like the product well enough, you collect more checks, then they are naturally going to shoot the prices more, which we have seen a lot of times in past few developments. So this is the timeline for Lentoria. The bulk purchase, the VIP or whatever bulk purchase, will be starting from 1st of March. Then the single purchase on this Saturday onwards. Correct, this Saturday. Yeah, correct, this Saturday. So tomorrow will be the merging check and then e-balloting for those of you who are trying. Good luck to you, and also good luck for you for the queue number, and also probably for the exit strategy. Okay. Lentor Lentoria, kind of like really test my how alert I am. I'm just sleeping on 3 hours of sleep, and I'm getting a little bit confused over stupid terms. Lentor Mansion. But yeah, so this is the starting PSF for Lentoria, which we already went through just now. You can see the difference. Starting from I think this is the first time we'll be seeing, and this is the first time we are seeing OCR starting from 2.1 something PSF, 2.1 something thousand PSF, 2.1 something, which I think is quite scary, but it's going to be a trend from probably this year onwards. All those lands that were acquired after the Lentor Mansion period, it's going to be the new trend. And that's why from now on, if you look at those developments onwards, before Lentoria and all these, actually the Bukit Timah Link on before that, and versus those that are after, that means Lentor Mansion after, you'll see the PSF is quite a bit of jump. That's why it may not always be, right from the start, it may not always be accurate to use purely PSF only. No matter what people say, no matter what the older generation say, what the PSF so high, last time we buy how much PSF last time, because they have all sorts of pattern. They have planter boxes, they have all the bay windows, that kind of thing. After that, developers are not allowed to sell those, and then it was wiped off, and naturally I think the PSF went up to a next level. Then they go and do funny things like all the AC, everything, and then now they are taking away the EC, and then it goes up yet another level again. So what happens is, I think we are going to see a new benchmark of PSF from this era onwards. Unfortunately, what happens is units are definitely going to get smaller, like it or not, and this is the only way forward, because the land is acquired very expensive in terms of PPR PSF. If Lentoria being starting from the bigger units at 1,900 plus, that means averaging they should be about 2.0 something, 2.1 something. That should place the Lentoria side along the rest, which is quite similar. But Lentor Mansion is going to be 2,002 plus 2,003, given that they are starting from 2.1 something, and it's not even like low 2.1 something. This is like higher already. This is the higher side. This is in the middle. This is slightly on the lower, but this is the 5-bedroom. And therefore, it is easily going to be 2,200 plus PSF, 2,300 plus PSF, and this is going to be a notch above the rest. Does it always mean that it's bad? Not exactly, but if you are comparing between the projects, I don't think it's necessarily only good to, or rather accurate to, use PSF only as a gauge. But if you are comparing with other areas, then I think this may be somewhere that you may want to be exercise a lot more caution before you take a leap of faith. Then let's see. This is the 2-bedder, 2-bed, 2-bath for, this one is the Lentor Mansion. This one is Lentoria. over here you can see the layout. Other than one is dumbbell. I personally like dumbbell. Some people don't like dumbbell. Okay, really personal preference. But I personally find it's quite lame reasons when people tell me, well, who am I to judge? Anyway, I personally like the layout on the right side, so probably pay higher PSF more because it kind of makes sense in the first place. So overall, people will be looking, if the PSF one is higher, one is lower, but the quantum is about the same, people may actually just start looking at quantum. After all, the amount of money is still, you are talking about the overall quantum and also same location mah. And this kitchen feels a bit wider. This one is like narrow side. But anyway, I don't really focus too much on the layout. I'm just putting out here for the first time because for those of you who are wondering, why TT suddenly compare layout? I'm just comparing because this is like the post GFA era, pre GFA harmonization kind of era. We're just looking at something that is a little bit different. But the rooms here looks a little bit bigger. But the key thing over here is that aircon ledge are non-strata anymore. This one is still a strata space. So Lentoria, they are still selling you the aircon ledge. This one is not selling it anymore. So how do they balance out? Developers are not charitable organizations. They will be extracting the money from you through the higher PSF. 3 bedrooms. Let's see. This is quite a nice layout. It's more towards the landscape, but it doesn't have a wet dry kitchen as compared. Like I said, all these I personally don't think is super important when it comes to layout. I've already mentioned a lot of times already. I'm not going to repeat myself, but I'm just highlighting certain things in this one and this one over this. Okay, they're not exactly super big difference, but these are I'm just trying to spot what are the kind of patterns they are trying to play around with. And like I said earlier, this one is also non-strata for Lentor Mansions. Okay, but this is just a comparison for you guys who are curious about pre and post GFA, the URA harmonization kind of era. So which is better? PSF wise, if you are PSF sensitive, obviously you are looking at Lentoria. But if you are not really just blindly only PSF sensitive, you are looking at the bigger picture, looking at the overall quantum and how efficient the layout is, probably also Lentor Mansion. If you're talking about land size, landscaping, all these, the bigger development probably will be a little bit more appealing in that sense. The other one is a little bit small in terms of number of units and all these. But if you're talking about buying it for an investment, I highly caution against it because there are simply too much supply and there is not really an outstanding factor over here. Some of you love Lentor. Believe it or not, 3-4 years ago, people were thinking Lentor is a simi ulu place. Suddenly, it's like the new Punggol kind of thing. It's like last time Punggol, I heard like Yangzhou or something like that. Not that kind of era, so I can't really verify. But now it's like the indie, it's like the youngster kind of thing. So it really depends. Like whatever your definition of a bad location today may not always apply to what is happening 5 to 10 years down the road. So, but I'm looking at more of the macro supply macro kind of factors, like example supply, all these kind of things, comparing. And since we were talking about it just now, it is not fair to just compare purely based on PSF anymore. Even the current projects, the current existing that are already launched versus those that were 10-20 years, it's not accurate to purely only use PSF, which a lot of people make the mistakes. But of course it's not easy because a lot of people think that it's like stocks. A lot of people look at stocks, they look at review charts, they feel like they're pro, and then go and execute and they realize that they lose money and don't understand. And yesterday, or rather today, I just look at some existing launch. I think should be just sold out recently only. There are already some sub sales going on. All those owners recently sub-sale one, they barely even make money. I think they probably not even sure, or I don't think they can even cover their CPF after causes. But that is an awesome location development. I shall not name that one because I already did a review on it before already. I shall not repeat myself. But it's sad that how so many people are still very insistent on their point of view that location is everything. Location is everything. Then actually, honestly, why would you want to go and seek an agent's advice if you're still insisting on location is everything? Just go for something that you really feel is is location is important. I mean, is the best for you lah. Because if you're not open to what is really happening on the ground, what is really happening in the market right now, then don't bother trying to make yourself feel worse by trying to gather more knowledge, and then you realize that hey, this is actually challenging my current belief system. So am I gonna be scared? But at the same time, the location is so important. I want this, I want that. Just go and buy whatever you like, because it's you're seeking advice. You're not seeking advice. You're trying to find song singers. You're trying to find jukebox. You're trying to find a doctor that tells you that, hey, actually you got no problem. But actually 9 other doctors are telling you that you have cancer, but the only one doctor is telling you that you have no cancer. And you are planning to stick with that one doctor that tells you that you don't have cancer. So what's the point of seeking advice in that case? Then okay, now we look a little bit more macro in that sense. For those people who are wondering, we are looking at new supply at this kind of level, which seems quite high. 17,000 plus, 18,000 plus is quite high. But if you compare to those heydays, which is not very long ago, 2018, 2019, that period where now quite some profitable owners are exiting their investment, and then people are like, wow, last time I should have this, last time I should have that. But remember during that era, there were a whole bunch of on-board fever, a whole bunch of GLS and everything else. There were a whole lot of units being available on the market. Everyone says that supply is going to be so high, and then you cannot make money, blah, blah, blah. And we look at the chart today, it's like this. So, if that's the case, how is this high already if you compare to this? And how much, can you imagine how much emotional trauma they went through? All those people that bought in during this period, they bought in. Then they had to go through this period. My eyes are getting a little bit old. I need to squint to really see. It's a little bit small in that sense. This is the COVID period. So they bought during this period. They had to tide through this period. Can you imagine the amount of financial and emotional trauma they had to go through? And I think they are duly rewarded for it. So good job, guys. I think you took that leap of faith. It was scary as hell for you during that ride, but I'm glad and I congratulate you for taking profits today, because you had the guts to do so. While there were some people or rather there is still a lot of people that choose to live with regrets. And this is not new. This also was the era where there were a lot of high supply. But overall, I think it's important to note that the average PSF has indeed gone up. Why is it like this? It's not as simple as I'm going to finish it in one sentence. There are a lot of factors which I don't think I can finish talking about here. The other thing is, some people, or rather quite a lot of people now are saying, hey, there's so many computer projects. The market is coming down. It's only for this year, apparently, according to this chart. They have quite some over here, but not as much. But this supply is going to eventually be absorbed. It cannot be not absorbed at all. This one is like more than twice the height of this. So it may take some time, obviously, to be absorbed when it comes to rental and sales supply, but it will be eventually be absorbed. But over here, this seems to be, okay, let's just assume that this is the average line. All these guys over here seems to be below average. So will supply be enough eventually to cope with the demand, whether it comes to rental and sale? And when that happens, what will happen to the PSF? What will happen to the overall prices for Singapore properties? It's something for you to think about. And also, this is the PPI, which we already seen a lot of times. This seems to be super resilient. It's only slowed down by government intervention. It's not even like an economy kind of thing. Without government intervention, without all the so numerous cooling measures, this guy wouldn't have been this level. This guy will have been easily this level. And this will be like Hong Kong kind of scary. But thankfully, our government is not that crazy to allow Hong Kong kind of thing. Thankfully, if not, a lot of us will be stuck in super shoebox. We are still already quite shoebox, but those guys in Hong Kong are like ultra super duper shoebox. Okay, and this over here last time, why this drop? You need to understand. Then why is it that even throughout COVID we are not coming down? You also really need to understand. Go and dig out the truth. If you don't understand the truth, then go and find the right professional to help you understand what is the real reasoning behind it before, and you need to understand all these macro factors before you zoom into the more micro factors, and eventually before you make a decision when it comes to your real estate. Okay, that will be all we have for today. So make sure you make a real informed decision. We are not talking about tens of dollars. We are talking about tens of hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. I think it's only right for you to think very carefully what is your real objective, and not stay 1-2 years already then think about last time I should this, last time I should that. I think this is way too big of a purchase to be thinking that way. Anyway, like what I mentioned, this will be all we have for today. So if you guys have anything, then make sure you feel free to like, share, subscribe, and then put in the comments below what you would like me to share on the next session. So see you guys. Bye bye.